I hope you enjoyed hearing Forest City Commandery by Karl King, and will download the parts so you can practice it yourself. In the YouTube description, you'll find a link to download the parts for free. Like most Karl King marches, this one's great fun for Euphonium players. There is kind of a hard part in the first strain, not technically very hard, but conceptually hard. I'll turn the metronome on a little bit slower here. So after a quarter rest, we have the rest of the measure filled out with eighth notes. Normally when we have fast notes in a scale or arpeggio, we're going toward a downbeat, and the downbeat would be strong. In this case, though, we end on the eighth note before the downbeat. We have to be very careful not to emphasize it, so we don't want this sound. In other words, we have to consciously work to not hit that last note too hard, because the downbeat after it is where the emphasis should be, and we don't play that. And the next one. So that's all there is to it. It sounds simple, but sometimes in the heat of playing, especially if you're at a faster tempo where you're at the extremes perhaps of your single tongue or getting into double tongue, then it becomes even more complicated. So there's my tip on something to watch out for. Otherwise, just have fun practicing the march. It's a nice march. Thanks for listening. By the way, that tip also applies to another march by Karl King, the Kentucky Derby. In the trio of that march, now we're in cut time, we have running eighth notes that again end on the last eighth note before the bar line. So in the slower tempo, again, we don't want to emphasize that last note, which would be our normal tendency, even though it's not a downbeat. So we don't want this. That gives a little too much punch on that last note and takes away from the effect of the line going to the downbeat. It's a natural tendency because we always have targets in our mind. We're going to that last note. But in this case, that last note is not a big deal. The big deal happens outside the euphonium section on the downbeat.